XRP is getting ready for liftoff. Why, you say? We're going to get into it. Also, DeFi is coming to XRPville. And I got a flare update and a lot of other things to talk about. Let's go.
And now, the XRP Minute with Chip on the chain.
Chip here with the XRP Minute. If it's your first time here, please like, subscribe, click that little notification bell below, and you'll be notified of any new videos that drop. Also, the best way you can support this channel is to share the video on social media. Now, let's dive headfirst into the shallow end for maximum impact. Got some really good news to announce here. Flare is delighted to announce that Celsius Network is officially supporting the Flare Spark distribution. This is huge for anybody who either has a loan through Celsius or who is just earning interest on any their XRP. So this is a really fantastic news. A big, huge shout out to Alex Mashinsky. We've had him on the channel a number of times. One of the greatest people and human beings in crypto and probably on the planet, as far as that goes. So again, they keep coming in. We keep hearing about more and more support. This is another phenomenal thing. And Alex announced this on one of his Ask Me Anythings I saw about a week and a half ago. He said that if it wasn't a security issue, they would certainly jump into it. So what do we have here? So Brad Garlinghouse, check this out. So there was a tweet that got put out about CBDCs that was put out on the official Ripple, which was kind of a pull quote from one of their articles. CBDCs are a question of when, not if. The key to success is functionality that enables each system to operate seamlessly with other payment systems. This came from Ripple's very own James Wallace, and they put it out as an insight. And then Brad retweeted this. Brad Garlinghouse retweeted this, and he said, over 70% of the central banks around the world are looking at deploying CBDCs. That's central bank digital currencies. And one thing that's crystal clear is the importance of interoperability. If you're not prioritizing this, you're just rebuilding the same siloed system. To put that another way, to go with what David Schwartz always talks about are the walled gardens. Silos, systems. So they already have a siloed system. That's their fiat currency. Now they're going to build a digital system. Brad's bringing up a really good point, and I want to talk about this as it applies to you, an XRP holder. If you don't hold XRP, that's okay. But what's really key here is that you got to start seeing the broad use cases and on the interoperability. It's great if whatever bank in whatever country develops their CBDC and they're proud of it and they can't wait to announce it and they're super excited about it, the greatest thing ever. Well, guess what? If that just sits there and there's no interoperability, so if somebody wants to send a payment with that CBDC, or if it's a central bank that's trying to basically interact with another central bank, well, good luck there. We're back to the old crappy system of waiting 3 to 5 days. This is why XRP is so valuable. You have to see that the use case applies across the board. And Brad is bringing up a really awesome topic here because, and this is so key, because if you are not dealing with interoperability, then guess what? You're just the same old garbage system. So I want to just kind of point out the whole idea that this is very key, and this is why we hold XRP. Now, moving on. The Apple Store of DeFi is bringing yield farming to Bitcoin and XRP. So Harvest.io is launching. Kava wants to bring order to DeFi, and they want to expand it beyond Ethereum. So we've heard a lot about, decentralized finance, or DeFi for short. Now, I love Brian Kerr and the team over there. They are just really, really, really bringing something extraordinary for us. So we have Flare, who's pioneering the smart contracts that are interoperable with Ethereum. Then what do we hear? Well, Harvest.io, which is Kava's new automated money market protocol. So they are going to, it's a little like Aave and Compound, only on Kava, designed to support assets just beyond Ethereum, such as Bitcoin and XRP. So there's a couple tokens they're going to support, but again, they're breaking out of this normal ecosystem. Kava aims to make decentralized finance as safe and easy to use as on the Apple Store. So they just want to make this, build a lot of trust into it. Basically, the co-founder of Kava, Brian Kerr, said that A blockchain network focused on interoperability wants to bring trimmed haircuts, tucked in t-shirts, it just works sort of attitude to your local Apple store, to the world of decentralized finance. Well, why does he want to do this? Well, because the Apple stores, it's everybody knows the Apple store, they get it, right? You want to get an app, you click on it, you download it. He's trying to bring it everything down into a really nice thing, and they're really packaging this beautifully. So with the launch of one of its first DeFi protocols, automated money market, Harvest.io, Kava co-founder Brian Kerr hopes to bring order to the chaos of the DeFi market. And I've said this for a while. You know, this DeFi is great. It's like, oh, Yearn.finance, it's making 35,000, and if I only got in $1, yeah, that's great. I don't see a lot of regulation going on right now. I don't know what's going to happen post-regulation. I obviously like DeFi. I'm not down on it by any measure, but I trust someone like a Brian Kerr that has a very solid track record. It's not just somebody just like launched the new DeFi thing. Brian Kerr has been around. He's been around the XRP space. This isn't something new. So you can earn tokens passively, spend your tokens on a reward store. DeFi refers to the slew of the non-custodial finance products, most notably in the decentralized lending protocols and exchanges and synthetic assets. At the moment, Ethereum dominates this market, and this is what I love about this, is that he's bringing it to other tokens such as XRP, which is more notable. Now, they announced Harvest.io. They'll support the product launch will happen on October 15th. They'll support crypto loans and investments and liquidity pools. Pools of money that ensure loans always have counterparties. It also rewards those who have the protocol with the governance token, HARD, which stands for Harvest Decentralized. Governance tokens are cryptocurrencies that holders can use to vote on proposals to upgrade the network or sell in secondary market. Now, Harvest.io appears very similar to like Compound. If you guys have heard of Compound, very popular. Two decentralized protocols out there. Both of them set on Ethereum. Only Harvest.io supports Bitcoin and XRP, as well as Binance's BNB and BUSD. So in comparison, Ethereum supports synthetic Ethereum-based representations of coins native to other chains such as Bitcoin through projects like TBDC, RenBDC, WBDC, but not the coins themselves. So the Harvest.io's silver bullet is the permission blockchain. Each application on Kava has been rubber stamped with the approval of the community, though many of the major Ethereum protocols have been audited and vetted by the community. So this is really good. I really like this. I think it's going to be a very positive thing. If you guys go to harvest.io, you can check it out. So nothing's going on right now because the launch happens on October 15th. But all you do is add your email. You'll get a notification of the launch, and you can see the tokens that they're supporting. And there's you can flip out their Medium post and read more about it right there. So it's the world's first cross-chain money market, which is really good. You need cross-chain is very solid. You can read all about it right here, but I like it. And so early on, I tease, hey, XRP is ready for liftoff. And if you've been watching my videos over here exclusively on the chain, you've been noticing something. I've been talking about price movement. I've been talking about liftoff. I've been talking about not necessarily mooning, but we are going to start seeing some movement. What does that look like? Why? Chip, why are we going to see that? You're asking yourself. It's very simple. We had two bills recently introduced that are going to basically make the pool okay for all the kids to come in. You know what? Bring your bathing suits, bring your party favors, bring your own bottle, BYOB, right? And then jump in the pool. That's going to mean big money. That's the big boys are going to want it. Big girls too. Let's use the right pronouns here. They're going to want to come join the party. When does the party start, Chip? The party starts when the regulations happen. So I wanted to talk about this one. Tom Emer did a phenomenal crypto chat the other about 2.5 weeks ago now. He had Brad Garlinghouse, a bunch of other people on there. But I love what he's doing. Tom Emer, co-chair of the Congressional Blockchain Caucus and ranking member of the House Committee on Financial Services, the FinTech Task Force, introduced the Security Clarities Act of 2020, which basically proposes amending federal securities laws that date back to 1933, 34, to distinguish between investment assets that are part of the investment contract and securities. Also, Ranking Member Mike Conway out of Texas, he's the House Committee on Agriculture, he introduced something called the Digital Commodities Exchange Act of 2020, better known as the DCEA, which proposes developing a federal framework for the prudential regulation of token trading platform. These are this is something right now, if you're on, let's say, one of these platforms, let's say Uphold, for example, they got to go ahead to each state and they got to basically, can we please have, pass all the regulations and jump through all the hoops. What they're proposing here is they'll have, for the promotion and growth of digital tokens, they'll have sort of a federally charged thing. And this is really good. So let's dive a little bit into the Securities Act of 2020. So it's one of the biggest issues right now impacting the industry. Are digital tokens issued as part of investment contracts are themselves securities? So this is a legal issue promoted in an amicus brief in the case SEC versus Telegram, which you probably know about, that digital tokens are part of an investment contract, are not necessarily themselves securities under the federal securities laws. The Securities Clarity Act amends the security laws to make the clarification simply by either creating this brand new term, investment contract asset, and it excludes it from the definition of security. And right now we know the SEC's basically gone out there and they've said Bitcoin, not a security. They said Ethereum's not a security. And then they stopped it right before they got to XRP. They were right at XRP and they could have said XRP is not a security. But no, they didn't. So this is going to kind of like squash all that and the 5,000 other digital tokens out there. Also, defining investment contract asset as an asset, whether tangible or intangible, including assets in a digital form, sold or otherwise transferred, or intended to be sold or otherwise transferred pursuant to an investment contract. That is not otherwise a security. This is huge. So you're going to all of a sudden see when this lifts and the fog lifts and these get passed, why? Well, because there is bipartisan support. It's bubbling up on both sides of it. This is the bill that I just talked about, which is the U.S. Putting the exchanges under a national framework. You can start to see there's a lot of coverage out there. This is right off of Tom Emer's website where he's introducing this himself. And I wanted to get down to some quotes here. He said, we've seen regulations hinder the process of blockchain-based technologies. The development of these vital technologies should not be impacted by government's inability to adjust. That's so well said. And what he's saying in a very nice way is the government can't get out of its own way. And so what do we see when this stuff starts happening? Once you hear XRP is not a security, you're going to start seeing a bunch of switches flipped. What does that mean? It means volume. What does that mean? Price movement. What does that mean? Liftoff. Cue the liftoff. This legislation provides important clarity as regulators and industry professionals alike work to appropriately classify assets, especially emerging assets, said Agriculture Committee Ranking Member Michael Conway. Technology and finance will continue to evolve together, and it's critical that Congress keeps up. And we've been talking about this on the chain. Jeff and I have both been hammering this home. Congress, keep up. They don't even know what Bitcoin is. They don't get it. They don't even know what Facebook is. Technology and finance will continue to evolve together. It's critical that Congress will keep up and provide legal clarity to encourage American ambition and innovation while protecting consumers and investors in digital markets. Now, Jack Dorsey, you know him as the co-founder, well, he's one of the co-founders of Twitter, but he's introducing blockchain strategy, and you're probably thinking, well, geez, what is that all about? Well, I'll get into it a little bit. I love when this happens. All right, so basically, blockchain and Bitcoin point to a future, point to a world where content exists forever, Dorsey said. the internet is forever anyway, right? You put out a tweet and you go, oops, I deleted it. Well, guess what? You can find that everything's archived. The internet's forever. People can delete stuff. You can always find it. So Dorsey expects the nonprofit Blue Sky to create an open Twitter protocol which users can contribute to and access data from instead of a centralized service where the social media platform hosts content on its website. It's ambitious. I like what's trying to happen. I mean, he set up Blue Sky, which is basically a nonprofit, and they're kind of going to focus on being more of a client, so they can create a really compelling service, so that anybody can sort of access and contribute to it. So he said the nonprofit's looking to hire at least 5 roles with tasking a public blockchain. He says you see this most fundamentally in Bitcoin and in blockchain, describing the shift from centralized service providers to diverse network participants. So you're seeing that everything is getting into blockchain and this whole idea of being decentralized. So this is very, very good. There's another coverage on this, but there was one thing that I wanted to talk about here. Yeah, they're going to follow a similar model to Square Crypto. This is he founded Square. It's a payments service. That's another unicorn company. He's also CEO of that company as well as being CEO. He splits up the duties. And Square Crypto is Bitcoin focused, separate from the entity would focus on open standards for decentralized processes across social platforms rather than proprietary. So he's already done this with Square Crypto, and he's basically taken the same idea and protocol and sort of going across. Now, I got some bad news for people who live in the United States. Uh-oh. Tax cheats. This is a great article found in the Wall Street Journal. The tax collector, the tax man, the Beatles talked about it, making it a lot harder to pretend you don't have Bitcoin. Me, I don't have Bitcoin. I got no digital assets here. Nothing to see here. Move along. Or other virtual currencies otherwise. So cryptocurrencies holders beware. Surprising change. Your 2020 tax form is about to strip away any excuses for ignoring the tax rules on Bitcoin, Ether, or other digital currencies. The Internal Revenue Service plans to alter the standard 1040 form by putting this question on the front page. At any time during 2020, did you, Mr. or Mrs., sell, receive, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial interest in any virtual currency? And basically, you got to tick a little box that says yes or no. And the question was on the 2019 form, but it was part of the return that really didn't have, all filers had to answer. Now they're moving it to the 1040 more prominent spot just below where the taxpayer signs. And it's going to look a little something like this. Let me pull this into focus here. Man, I'm on a tax form. Look at that. So you see that little spot right there? Right under there, any financial interest, did you sell, receive, boom. Now you got to check the box there. Before it was kind of hidden. Yikes, right? So anyway, you're going to have to answer it. Did you ever heard of one? I'm surprised they didn't put that. Have you ever heard of Bitcoin? Yes or no? We want to know. The tax man is coming for you. Want to talk a little bit about Uphold. Uphold here, look, introducing the world's easiest trading experience, proud to launch their new web wallet, which is today. This tweet from yesterday. 0 deposit fees, 0 trading commissions, 0 withdrawal fees. You know, I have one super easy interface. I like what they've done here. It was super confusing creating cards. I know Jungle Inc. has complained about it with the cards. You got to create a card and you got to move stuff. What they basically did was they took their mobile and they basically put it on the web. So the same way, if I used to like mostly the stuff I would buy was on the mobile, and they basically took the same experience and threw it over there, which is actually pretty good. So now they got sort of a synced up experience, whether you buy it on web or you use the website or whatever. I like that. Very cool development there. Now, the first crypto exchange with no fees is about to be launched. And you're probably going, wow, this is phenomenal, right, Chip? Well, I don't know. Let's take a look. Top analyst who runs a YouTube channel claimed cryptocurrencies will surge following last week's, I don't know, what is this? Did I get, let's see, hang on a second. Sometimes I don't like all these ads, so what I do is I launch, there we go. Sometimes what it does is a little switcheroo they're trying to play there. So a fintech firm known as Facet, like Fast Asset, recently announced the launch of a new exchange in the Middle East. The exchange called Facet Exchange will offer a unique experience It will not have trading fees. Users will still have to pay a withdrawal fee and over-the-counter fees, however. So I was all excited, but I'll be honest with you. My personal thing is I only use exchanges that are regulated and based in the good old United States of America, where I live in Miami, Florida. So it's up to you. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing, but they're probably going to ding you. So you buy it, when you go to move it off, that's when they're going to hit you. So it's the first zero fees exchange, but we just talked about Uphold, zero fees. So, it's interesting. I like the whole idea. I want to talk about this. Be very careful out there. We've been talking a lot about flares, a lot of excitement around it. Flare, fake, everything is out there. You're getting emails. I know people that are getting scammed. Do not fall for this. If you do not see an official announcement on the Flare Twitter handle, if you do not see something, question everything, okay? Because if it sounds too good to be true, more than likely it probably is. Now, the token drop is cool, and that is real, but you got to look at it. So scammers are basically trying to benefit from the Flare XRP Spark token drop. I'm seeing everything out there. Everything from fake airdrops to fake channels. Flare has had a comment a bunch of times on this. Just be really careful. There's a lot of scammers out there. Be careful. And let's go here. Let's go. And why can't I? There we go. So I want to talk about this. This is a really phenomenal thread from Ron Hammond. If you don't know who Ron Hammond is, he's basically was the author of the Token Taxonomy Act. He's also the former legislative assistant to Representative Congressman Warren Davidson, and he's currently Ripple's manager of government relations. But he basically put out a really cool tweet. I really enjoyed it. Sometimes it's like if you could go back and be a fly on the wall and kind of get the experience. That's basically what Ron's put together here. It's talking about the legislating certainty for digital assets. This was an event that happened 2 years ago. So he's kind of like going back 2 years, and then he's taking us through it. So let's go through this. I'm going to have to there we go. So it's been 2 years since 50 C-suite executives descended on the Library of Congress to participate in Warren Davidson's legislating certainty for digital assets. In honor of this fantastic event, and you got to give a lot of credit here to Warren Davidson. This is 2 years ago. He was basically laying the groundwork and framework. Now, earlier in this video, we were talking about what's bubbling up. Regulations, right? We have Brian Brooks, comptroller of the OCC. We have we have Darren Soto. We have all these Congress people putting these bills forward, and we have bipartisan support. It started 2 years ago, and Warren Davidson was the pioneer behind it. It's a quick thread on some of the behind-the-scenes details of what happened since. One of the unique elements in this roundtable was the format. Members of Congress listened, and they took notes. In fact, Warren Davidson had over 15 pages of notes from the event. This is very different from many of the congressional hearings which occurred today, because most of the congressional hearings are just people getting grilled. Hey, where were you on the night of December 6th, 2018? That's how they sort of start off. They're always gotcha moments. This was a learning experience. He said we understood that asking 50 people a question would result in a lot of responses from the room. We needed a moderator who would be impartial and a leader in managing the many personalities in the event. Thank you to Jerry Brito for doing such a great job as the moderator. Another unique element of this event was the range of venture capital firms, trade associations, exchanges, law firms, media, banks, and startups at the event. Some were competitors, others were business partners, but no matter who the relationships were, everyone was cordial and professional. It was very shocking early on in the process to have been approached by many banks and even more institutional firms asking to be more fly on the wall for the event. At the time, we weren't aware of exactly how many of what products the banks were testing, but now in 2020, most of them are public. We had industry leaders such as, and I'm not going to go through them all, but there are a lot of industry leaders there, DC leaders such as Paul Atkins, legal experts were there. He tagged them all in the thread. We made it imperative that this event be bipartisan, and I've talked about this time and time again. Bipartisan basically means you've got two-party system in the United States, you've got your Democrats, your Republicans. Bipartisan essentially means one simple thing. that you have a come together from both sides. This is bipartisan, right? We made it imperative. It had to be bipartisan. We were so thankful to have Tom Emmer there. Darren Soto out of Florida. Shout out to Darren Soto, Florida boy. Ted Budd, Warren Davidson. They take time out of their busy day to attend this long event. It's hard to get 30 minutes of time, let alone 6 hours. So what started out as a bipartisan MOC with an interest in the promise of blockchain technology is now ballooned into a coalition with over a dozen MOCs who are champions for the industry. We have a long way to go, but it was exciting to watch the support in DC grow. This wouldn't have been possible without the help of the staff for each of these offices. Special shout out to Bill Rockwood from Darren Soto's office, and Darren Soto's a Democrat out of Orlando, and Landon out of Tom Emer's office for helping with the event and allocate time. Now, what are we seeing here? 2 years ago, you see the same people who were instrumental back then who are instrumental today. 2 years is a long time, and it's been on the radar for some time now. Now, the event was organized into two tiers of the conversation. Token Taxonomy, by the way, Ron Hammond, if I didn't mention that, wrote the Token Taxonomy Act. Security versus commodity, consumer protection and compliance, and tax. The dialogue on these sessions would later form from three pillars of the Token Taxonomy Act. And as you know, that kind of got shuffled around and sort of buried. But pieces of that are living on in other bills, especially the American Compete Act. Now, in order to facilitate a more open dialogue, Warren Davidson asked the event to be solely MOC and industry. We made sure the regulators were aware of the roundtable and our findings after the event. However, did not ask any to participate. In the final days leading up to the event, I had to turn away over 50 individuals and companies from participating in the event solely due to capacity. One word got out about the roundtable. It was a frenzy of people advocating for themselves to be included. Yes, everyone wanted to be part of this whole thing. He says he can't understand the power of having a good government relations team. These teams were instrumental in coordination and lobbying for the respective company to be present and great with follow-up notes on takeaways from the event. If you aren't investing in GR, you should be. If you need some help or advice on managing a government relations team, that's what GR is. I'm always happy to provide input. Since I've been a Hill staffer and a lobbyist in the industry, I can provide a unique perspective as to what it does not work when it comes to Capitol Hill. Now, as for press, the media hits for the event were also incredible. We had fantastic coverage, CNBC, CoinDesk, and the folks at Coin Center, much more. Some of the takeaways can be found in this press release. I'm not going to get into that. After the roundtable was over, Warren Davidson called for participants to provide feedback on what a legislative framework would be for digital assets, along with the lines of what were discussed at the event. I had about 200 pages worth of feedback after 3 weeks. 200 pages, that's insane. This is where the fun began. I organized several docs with select participants from the roundtable to work on the bipartisan legislation Warren Davidson promised by the end of the year. It took over 20 drafts of legislation, hundreds of hours to get the final product. Now, on the last day of the 115th Congress, the culmination of all the input from the roundtable came to fruition with the bipartisan Token Taxonomy Act. It wasn't perfect then, but it was a start, and I agree, it was a phenomenal start. It would later be reintroduced in April 2019 with additional bipartisan supporters. Fast forward 2 years from the roundtable, and it's exciting to see so much happen. We have support in the regulators with Brian Brooks, Hester Pierce, Chairman Heat. We also have new legislation, Tom Emer, Darren Soto, Conway. We just talked about those earlier to provide additional clarity. We still have a long way to go, and the fights in Congress are just getting started. As more MOC begin to understand in this industry, you can bet that more scrutiny will occur. Until then, we're all in this together, and it's imperative that we work together just like we did 2 years ago. Finally, if you want to watch most of the event, feel free to watch the CNBC live stream here. There are so many important takes in this video that are still relevant to the regulatory issues facing the industry. Click the link below if you guys want to go out and watch that video, but you'll glean some really strong points from that. I just want to say that was I found that to be a fascinating thread. It's always good to kind of get go back to sort of like, we forget where we've been. It's easy to say, when are we going to get regulations? When moon? The truth of it is that this stuff has been in process for a while. The ship started sailing 2-3 years ago on regulations, and now we're starting to see as as basically Ron Hammond put it, the fruition of those efforts from a lot of people on the Democrat and Republican side. And I love going down memory lane, and it's really cool. I really love what Ron Hammond put together in this thread, because it's really cool. Again, you want to watch the video, click the link down below. If you let me know what you thought about this video. What do you guys think about regulations? Do you think it's going to happen in November? Do you think it's going to be December? Or do you think we're going to see it early next year? Let me know down below what that looks like. That's my take. Let me know what yours is. This is the XRP Minute. I'm Chip. I will see you on the next one. Have a good one. Chip out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.